Hi, everybody. We worked on just simply finding the main idea in regular sized paragraphs, but oftentimes that's not enough. You know from your textbook reading that oftentimes the selections and things that they're asking you to find the main idea in are much longer than just one paragraph. And so this PowerPoint is all about strategies for how to find the main idea in pieces with longer selections. So first of all, we learned last time that the main idea sentences can typically be found either at the beginning, or if not there, then the end, or if not there, then piecemealed in the middle someplace. But with longer selections, authors don't always follow the rules about having one main idea in each paragraph, which is just baffling to me, but they just don't. And I think it's because they are all smarty pantses with their PhDs and they're writing textbooks, and they are a little bit egotistical maybe about their intelligence. I'm not sure, but it's a pain in the neck for you and for other readers. So I want to teach you strategies to make sure that you can do this. So they don't always follow the rules about there being one main idea in each paragraph. And sometimes there sadly are two or more ideas. If they have used headings or subheadings in boldface or italics, then make sure that you take note of that, because that's typically what the paragraphs are going to be about. You know that. That's textbook 101. But again, those two questions that we talked about last time, what is this about? What is the author trying to tell me? You should have those two questions running through your head at all times. What is the topic? What is the author trying to tell me about it? So you have a handout called Finding the Main Ideas of Longer Selections, and I want you to read that first selection for me. And I'm going to give you time on the Edpuzzle. So you're going to be reading that selection. Now that you've done that, I want you to learn about the id, which is the unconscious part of the personality, has many different characteristics. That's what you should have written on the Edpuzzle after you read that paragraph. So the next one, I'm going to have you read the section entitled The Aftermath of a Nightmare. And I want you to underline the main sentence in each of the paragraphs to start. On the Edpuzzle, I want you to type the main idea sentence in each paragraph, please. So let's look at them. The first paragraph is about the loss of men, and the first half of the first sentence is the main idea. The Civil War took a grisly toll in gore. So that's going to be your first main idea. The second paragraph discusses the costs, both monetary and intangible, and thus parts of two sentences need to be underlined to indicate the main idea. And what I underlined was direct monetary costs of the conflict totaled about $15 billion. And the intangible costs cannot be calculated, that whole sentence. All right, the third paragraph is about the agreement made at Appomattox and the end of secession and nullification. The last sentence mentions these by name and is therefore the best main idea sentence. Nullification and secession, those twin nightmares of previous decades, were laid to rest. And then the fourth paragraph explains how the Civil War tested the American democracy and how democracy won. So I would underline or type in, beyond doubt, the Civil War was the supreme test of American democracy. That sentence. Next, the fifth paragraph describes the war's effect on the world. The first sentence states the main idea the best. Victory for Union arms also provided inspiration to the champions of democracy and liberalism the world over. Liberalism, guys, is honestly not a bad word. Liberal and conservative have really no basis in politics, and they've kind of been hijacked by the political parties. Please don't think of it that way. A conservative person, by definition, is a person who tends to be what we say risk averse. They like things to stay the same. They like things to be very, shall we say, like scheduled, cut and dried. Okay, this is the way it is. This is the way it's always been. Let's leave it. Liberal, on the other hand, is a person who is interested in change, is always looking for how to do things differently or better, and is more risk averse, I guess, more willing to try new things, and so that's simply it. It has nothing to do with politics, honestly. Just want to throw that out there. But anyway, so the last paragraph, we keep going, argues that the loss for the South was the best for many American interests and that the United States was free to fulfill its destiny. And so the last sentence states that the best. So hopefully those are the ones that you added into the Ed puzzle. All right, so back to the handout. Each of the paragraphs has its own main idea, but there's also a main idea for the entire selection. And so if I were to pinpoint that, I might write, in the aftermath of the Civil War, the United States had to deal with both good and bad effects. And so all of the paragraphs should answer that question. What were some good effects? What were some bad effects of the Civil War and on the United States? So the downsizing article is the next one, and I've just put answers to it. So as you go through, you can look at that. And then the main idea of the entire selection is eliminating jobs through downsizing has both positive and negative effects and has changed workers' perspectives about job security. And that is the end. Thanks for doing the Ed puzzle.